What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to G-Ball Vision. Thank you for stopping in. Today we have an unboxing to get into coming in from Hightron Knives. Before we get started, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I release daily knife and EDC content. Hit that thumbs up button. That helps push these videos out there to more people. And let everyone know what you are carrying in your pockets today down in the comments. I love seeing what you guys have for your EDC. Shout out to Hightron Knives for setting this in for us to take a look at. I don't have any prior experience with Hightron. I've just seen some of their knives around. I'll have everything that I can linked down in the description of this video. But for what I've seen from Hightron is what looks to be some promising models. So let's see what we are looking at here. Nice packaging. We'll run this through our normal checks here, and let's take a look at this thing. We have some textured G10 here. We have a crossbar lock for our locking mechanism. We have a deep carry steel rollover clip. It is surface mounted, but the screws are recessed. Looks to be a good amount of room. We have a G10 backspacer. Now I am noticing this is going to be right hand carry only, so lefties keep that in mind. And then we do have dual thumb studs and a cutout here for our deployment. And we have kind of that drops, but it sweeps kind of back up there as well. See how that drops? And then here at the very last end, it kind of kicks up there. Nice looking blade shape though. And that belly is going to be very useful. You got a nice pokey tip there. This looks to be like a titanium nitride coating. We have a cutout and the studs there. And we have their little logo on the show side there. Looks clean, looks good. And as far as the plunge and sharpening choil area there, as I always say, don't come to me for sharpening advice, but that looks to be pretty decent right there. The plunge is back, and it looks like you'll have some sharpening life in there. As far as the springs go, it feels pretty good off those studs. And I've always liked the cutout stud combination because you have that cutout to kind of wedge the skin into, and then you have the stud as kind of your backup. So you're really getting the best of both worlds in that situation. And then for the thumb side, you can use either which one. Very nice. This is a good size as well. I don't know if I said, but the steel is going to be 14C28N. And I believe these are going to come in around like $50. So they're going to be very competitive. And they have a couple of different blade shapes from what I noticed. We're looking at 3 1/4 of cutting edge and 3 1/2 for total. And then this is coming down around 8 1/8 overall. So a good full-size knife here. Couple of comparisons with the Paramilitary 2 and the Parrot 3 here. More in line with that Paramilitary 2 size. And up against the QSP Penguin and Civivi Elementum, you can see it is going to be quite a bit larger than both of those. And here it is up against the 80-20.5, even a little bit larger than that. As far as the weight goes, we'll go ahead and throw it on here. We're looking at 2.8 ounces. Very, very nice on the weight for that size. The ratio people will be very happy about that, and I will reiterate, I care nothing about ratios for the most part, unless it is just asinine and a joke, basically. But, you know, people will often complain about the Paramilitary 2. I love that. I care nothing at all. If the handle's a little bit longer than the blade, I care nothing at all about that. That has never bothered me. I never knew that was a thing until I got to the knife community. Growing up around fixed blades where the blade is 2-3 times longer than the handle. It's not, ratios isn't something I ever considered. This is going to carry pretty deep in the pocket. You will have a little bit poking out there on the butt end. A lot of times I like to recommend, just if the company watches this or whatever, I like to recommend if you can somehow, so since this is surface mounted, go ahead and run it for lefties as well, but you can also replace this top screw of the pocket clip with this screw here, and you're going to eliminate these 2 torque screws, and you're going to raise that pocket clip all the way up, and this will carry very deep in the pocket, and then lefties will be able to carry this as well. All you'll have is just one extra hole here, and you could even throw, a Torx in it to kind of keep it clean, or just let it rock with, a hole, which isn't a big deal. That's just a recommendation. I do like the aesthetics of this knife and the ergonomics. You have a nice wide portion here for your forward 2 fingers, and then you can kind of either spread out or get 3 up here. I mean, there's quite a few different ways to grip this knife. Because you have nothing in this area, you can really get up behind that edge if you have something you need a lot of control over this blade for. So you can really creep up on that handle. And that just shows you right there how much is left. And then you have all this area that you can kind of figure out where, if you need reach, you're going to have that. Just because of this handle design, I still have 3.5 on here. So, and I wear an XL glove. So that's a good size handle. I also I'll be able to really choke up on that tip and use that tip or that belly if I want. And you have this little area here. Now, if you're doing a lot of long cuts, as you flare that wrist out, it does tend to slip out of the cut, but that's the nature of the blade shape. If this was just a little lower, I mean, it's not too high to the point where it would be an issue. I don't think it would be an issue at all. No, your wrist is a little higher than obviously if it was a Warncliffe or something like that, but it's not bad. It's not as high as I initially thought it was. Now maybe I am, and that's partially the problem. Let's check this edge on this 14C. 14C can take a hair whittling edge, and we know that, and it should have that out of the box, and that is beautiful. Great job right there on that edge. This thing is razor sharp. Very nice. That is exactly what we want out of our cutting tool. And believe it or not, sometimes that's a problem. And can often, it is what it is. These companies are sharpening a lot of knives, and, every now and then you'll get a dud. But I would say, for the most part, these companies do a great job. Now, Hightron here, this is a very new company. I think they have 2 designs out right now, a couple versions of each. They both look very promising. And then they also have, I think it was like a button lock utility knife, kind of an EDC utility knife. I'll have to see if I can get them to send me one in for us to check out. But I really like what I'm seeing here. You can tell they care. It's evident in the design and the quality control of the knife. Good springs, good edge, good fit and finish. I don't see any rough finishing work. I don't see any marks on the blade anywhere. Just good, detailed work there. And I like the way they did that crossbar lock there. It's a little bit different than we normally see, but they are protruding enough where you can easily get to them pull those down and no problem. I like the springs in there. Feels like it's breaking in as we're messing with it here. Nice tight tolerances there. The blade is centered up very nicely. We'll go ahead and check that lock. And what we are doing here is just making sure that that lock is going to hold up and not just slip off the tang there. It feels very solid. I don't feel any movement there, and that blade stock is nice and thin. Very, very nice. This thing cut like a dream. Let's go ahead and check this feller. Couple of light taps there to get us going. And crossbar locks are proven by this test to be a pretty durable lock. Tested hundreds of them at this point. Probably 100 at least. Very good. Very, very good. I don't really want to get off on a tangent, but I guess I kind of will. I've never, initially I was like, oh, I kind of nodded my head in agreement when I heard crossbar locks are not trustworthy when it comes to being a locking mechanism. Now, can you put them at the same table as a triad lock, a shark lock? No, you can't. And I don't think anyone ever has claimed that either. But one thing is, from testing knives that are $15, $20, all the way up to, some of the most expensive crossbar locks I can get my hands on, a couple $100 at least. They're very, very durable, very strong. I have not had a single issue with a crossbar lock under normal. Now if you tried to nail something into a tree with it, eventually it might give out. But under normal everyday use and a little bit, taking it a little bit even further than that, maybe you're pretty hard on your folder, it's going to be just fine. You're always going to want to practice knife safety and all that sort of thing, right? And take my information with a grain of salt. These are my experiences, my opinions. But in my experience and in my opinion, crossbar locks seem to be, a good locking mechanism for just a daily cutter. And never had an issue with it. So I want to throw that out there, because there's a lot that gets said, and I never know what someone else has heard in the past. I might be talking to people who are new and they've heard crossbar locks aren't that great, or whatever the case may be. And that's why we run these knives through these tests, to show all these things, to go over all the little details. That way you can see it for yourself and see it firsthand, doing all the things we want the knife to do. So let me know what you think of the new Hightron knives here. This is just called the 01, the Hot Knives 01 from Hightron. So I'll link it down below. They're coming in around $50, 14C, G10. If you're looking for something, off the beaten path, right, which is what I like to do, find the gems that are not really known. I think this might be a great option if you're in that price point. Like I said, they have another design with a little bit different blade shape, different handle completely, and that one would be worth taking a look at. I'll see if I can get it in here so we can check it out. Let me know what you think of the Hightron knives here. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. I always appreciate that, everyone. If you're new to the channel, I release knife and EDC content just like this every single day. Hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. I would love to have you here. That'll let you know anytime I release any new content. I will put a few of my recent videos up here. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thank you all again for watching. I will catch you on the next one.